Hi everyone, welcome to another exciting session of LambdaTest Experience series. Through XP series, we dive into the world of insights and innovations featuring renowned industry experts and business leaders in the testing and QA ecosystem. I'm your host, Kavya Nair, Director of Product Marketing at LambdaTest, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Before we dive into the heart of today's discussion, let me introduce our distinguished guest speaker. Joining us today is Murat Marjan, the Senior Expert Software Development at Turkish Airlines. With a wealth of experience driving digital transformation, Murat has played a pivotal role in aligning software testing strategies with overarching business objectives. His journey, marked by a collaboration between coding and quality assurance, brings a unique perspective to today's discussion. So, what can you expect from today's webinar? We are delving into the intricacies of test automation as a service. From managing test environments to the nitty-gritty of test data preparation, we will explore the nuances that make it a game changer. Whether you are a seasoned developer or just dipping your toes into testing, there's a valuable information tailored just for you. Now it's time to hand the virtual mic to Murat. Murat, over to you, please.
Dear Kavya, thank you for the warm introduction. It is a pleasure to be here today, and I am truly grateful for the opportunity to share insights and experiences with this esteemed audience. Throughout my career as software developer in TaaS, I had the privilege of immersing myself in dynamic intersection of software development, digital transformation, and software quality management. Today, I'm going to talk about revolutionizing with test automation, revolutionizing testing with test automation as a service, abbreviation TaaS. So let me share my screen with you. Here is one of my favorite quotations from Charles Kettering. He said, a problem well stated is a problem well half solved. Let's define the problem first. In today's digital transformation process, the needs for modern technologies and infrastructures have increased even more. With new software development tools, application frameworks, and various infrastructure components, developers need more advanced toolset. Needs such as flexible infrastructure architecture, where you can easily configure and operate system components. That's why you need transform legacy service-oriented architecture to microservices. The duplicated data in a data warehouse is another issue within legacy systems. So you need to come up with modern data pipeline. The need to catch up rapid changing technology with your development speed. However, waterfall is not meet your demands. So you need start working with agile mindset. And most of you know that agile is an iterative approach to project management and software development that helps teams deliver value to their customers faster and fewer headaches. Finally, you have to change functional teams to agile teams. So, the automation strategy here. Most people will say that we write tests to verify that things works as we expect them to. While that is true, it is not the whole truth. After all, we can be verified through manual tests as well. So there has to be something more to it. We want to move fast with confidence that things work. That's why tests should give us confidence, provide feedback, make maintenance much more easier. The confidence that the code does what it should. Since we use realistic fixtures as inputs and expected outputs, we know that no matter what the code looks like inside, it does what it should. The feedback should be fast, accurate, reliable, and predictable. This is probably where we fall a bit short. The feedback we get fast enough, but when tests fail, we sometimes find ourselves following the stack traces from service rather than only the assertions. The maintenance, which is something that is commonly overlooked when writing tests. Since we test from the edges, we can do maintenance and with confidence that we don't break it. We go really fast. In the real world, achieving all these three becomes an art. Let's first take a look at traditional testing strategy and where it fails us, so that we can move how to be successful in our testing journey. The traditional approach, for a long time, traditional testing strategy was extremely efficient way to organize our tests. In microservices world, this is no longer the case, so that it can be actively harmful. The biggest complexity in microservice is not within the service itself, but in how it interacts with other services, and that deserves special attention. Having too many unit tests in microservices, which are small by definition, also restricts how we can change the code without also having changed the tests. By having to change tests, we lose some confidence that the code still does what it should, and it has a negative impact on speed we iterate. One more fitting way of structuring our tests for microservices would be the testing honeycomb. That means we should focus on integration tests, have a few implementation detail tests, and even fewer integrated tests, ideally none. Integrated test, we define integrated test as a test that will pass or fail based on the correctness of another system. The signs that you have integrated tests are even if you spin up other services in your local testing environment, or even if you test against other services in shared testing environment, or changes to your system breaks test for other systems. These are some signs of that you have integrated tests. The integration tests, what we should aim for instead is integration tests which verify the correctness of our service in more isolated fashion, while focusing on the interaction points and making them very explicit. The implementation detail, when we use implementation detail test, we save implementation detail test for parts of the code that are naturally isolated and have an internal complexity of their own. An example, we have parsing log file to give meaningful feedback to users so they don't need to go through the logs and search for issues themselves. Needless to say, log parsing is complex. Using implementation detail testing here saves us from having an integration test for every possible build issue. Instead, we have one integration test covering a failing build that makes sure the correct error message field is present. The implementation test covers different failure scenarios. We'll look for in log file and ensure that we parse them as expected. Since we reuse the same fixtures for other services, we increase confidence that we won't accidentally break contracts between them. By the way, you may have noticed that we have been treating microservice as an isolated component, tested through its contracts. In that sense, microservice has become our new unit, which is why we have avoided the use term unit test for microservices in favor of implementation detail test. Test automation as a service. The need for new test automation product has emerged in order to test services developed in microservice architecture and to easily provide orchestration needed during testing. In this project, which we call TaaS, there are many features from managing developer testing environments to preparing test data, from distributing the service subject to test to giving detailed test reports. Engineering teams are easily able to make necessary changes, for example, cache eviction, database restore, and service deployment, etc. And the data preparations, masking, data obfuscation with developed tasks. In addition, functional and non-functional tests in the test library are run completely in isolation without affecting other working environment. The methodology, taking into account the microservice architecture and isolated working environments, we approach test subject from different perspective. In the traditional approach, test automations are designed to weight unit tests. However, we paid attention to resource and integration tests mostly and primarily, without writing unit tests. Our focus is only to create new test scenarios, but also to ensure that the prepared test and automation infrastructure are easily understood and used by other teams. The more this culture becomes widespread within the company, the more initial effort put into test automation will be utilized. So, the key to create an effective test automation strategy to eliminate errors that can be expected in manual testing, the test automation framework enables teams to reduce cost and efforts of testing process. Most importantly, it makes the process repeatable, which helps validate the app functions. Also, when test automation is updated with new test cases, this change adds reusability factor to any other microservice. The idea and ultimate goal, all these endeavors, is to publish quality application very quickly. So, what is the advantage of this? With TaaS, we adapted capabilities such as scalability, independent development, and distribution brought by microservice architecture to test automation. Test codes developed with test automation framework are developed in a separate project independent of source code, so can be run as standalone microservice. This project mainly contributing to test library. In this project, contributing to test library that TaaS uses while running automation tests and developing a test module has become very easy for developers with our lean API approach. Integration test and framework capabilities. A developer with an average Java programming language knowledge can start working with this system in less than 10 minutes. Here, the definition of our services and the product TaaS and our clients as mobile and web application. We have 12 microservices in TaaS product, and each of them has a function. For example, issue tracking service centralize all ticket information into one location by connecting popular project management softwares or ticket management softwares. The inspector service, sanity health check service for test bugs, test environments, and deployment status. For example, launcher service is responsible for executing test automation scenarios against target test environments. The reporting service also generates custom test results and coverage summary for the test execution. We have a test execution matrix. How will the test services work? Each of these users in the system will have certain roles and we will allow them to perform various actions within their authorization. After we determine the target environment in which tests in our library will be run. We choose test scope that we want to run. TaaS does the rest for us. You run test automation code like any other REST API. In TaaS, we have test library. In test library, we have functional and non-functional test scenarios, and we have backend services for testing here, which are microservices, and we have also some external services. When you trigger some set of tests on TaaS hit the resource endpoints through API gateway and for microservices. The next slide, I want to mention about the service interactions. The purpose of designing this system is actually to run test automation scripts. So basically, our test library is located in the middle. As I mentioned before, we have launcher service, which is responsible execute test automation scenarios against target test environments. Launcher service is always ready and waiting for commands from outside, and there is test library within its dependency. The library contains functional and non-functional test scenarios. For example, we want to run UI automation scenarios against a target environment. Let's say test box 1. Selenium tests create a browser instance to run web interface layer of relevant target environment. After tests are started, which is performed using a scalable structure in the Kubernetes environment, which we call 𝐈𝐿𝐿. On the other hand, we have some resource automation for API testing. We have customized client here talks to microservices in the target environment at API level and performs some validations. The reporting service here is responsible to send reports, emails to relevant users. Then history service archive and keep the result in database for further analytics. As you know, as the software testing team, we have to test every developed feature. This is a process that takes place whether it is running manual or automated test. Of course, we can produce quality software products when all the activities, preparing environments while testing, performing and finalizing the test are carried out on the same standard. As you can see, each service we have developed has undertaken a certain task within continuous testing phases. In this way, it is aimed to automate our quality process from end to end. Let's look at our technology stack. Even if we mention about our tech stack, our code base written in Spring Boot. We are using Hibernate as ORM, Postgre for database, Redis for cache. We mimic user interactions by Selenium 4.0. We customize API testing architecture by Apache's HTTP client for testing backend resources. And we also use REST assured. There is also Selenite Moon, so we have capabilities to scale Selenium test execution on Kubernetes environment or Redshift environment, OpenShift environment. And most of you know that Maven stands for project management. We also use Appium for mobile testing. Here is my presentation. Maybe Kavya, I give you the word from here.
Thank you so much, Murad. That was very interesting. I'm sure our audience must have found it insightful. But I wanted to ask a couple of questions, if that is okay.
For
Great.
sure.
Thank you. So, the first question that I had was, how can test automation as a service tackle challenges when it comes to resources and integration tests, especially prioritizing them over traditional unit tests? And also, what are the benefits and drawbacks of this approach?
Kavya, that's an insightful question about testing as a service. And it is role in addressing challenges in resource and integration tests, especially in comparison to traditional unit tests. TaaS can effectively tackle challenges in resource and integration tests by providing a comprehensive testing environment that simulates real-world scenarios. Unlike traditional unit tests that focus on individual components in isolation, TaaS allows for testing the entire system, ensuring that different modules intersect seamlessly and resources are utilized optimally. The benefits are evident from real-world simulation to enhanced efficiency through treating microservices as black boxes. However, it's essential to acknowledge potential drawbacks such as the risk of overlooking unit-level issues. The decision to prioritize tasks over traditional unit tests depends on specific needs and complexities of the project. While TaaS offers advantages in terms of realistic testing environments and end-to-end coverage, teams should carefully consider the associated complexities and cost to make informed decision based on project requirements. Yeah, that is what we are doing in our projects, Kavya.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Murad. That is very helpful. So the next question is if you can provide details on how TaaS seamlessly integrates with diverse DevOps tools like tracking software, source management systems, and CI/CD tools. Of course, the slide that you showed was very insightful, but yes, would love to double click on that.
Certainly, Kavya, the integration of TaaS with various DevOps tools is crucial aspect of ensuring a seamless and efficient software development and testing process. TaaS is designed to interact with a wide range of DevOps tools, including uh, tracking software, source code management, and CI/CD tools. Uh, by ensuring such comprehensive integration, TaaS enables a collaborative and streamlined workflow within DevOps environment. It promotes faster development cycles, early bug detection, and improved overall software quality. For example, tracking software integration. This integration allows for easy communication between development and testing teams, ensuring that testing activities align with project timelines and requirements. The source code management system integration. Uh, the testing activities are closely uh, tied to code base, enabling efficient version control and continuous testing as code evolves. CI/CD integration automates the testing process, allowing for continuous testing at each stage of development pipeline. Test results test results are feedback into CI/CD pipeline, providing rapid feedback for developers. And notification and reporting integration. It provides detailed and customizable reporting, integrating with reporting tools and generating reports in formats compatible with other DevOps tools. Uh, these allows organization to tailor the integration according to their specific needs and tool sets.
Absolutely, very insightful again. So the next question is how does test automation as a service contribute to test automation scalability, independent development and distribution, especially in large and complex microservice architectures?
Mhm, mhm. Uh, yeah, uh, testing as a service plays a pivotal role in addressing challenges related to test automation scalability, independent development, and distribution in context of large and complex microservice architectures. It provides the necessary tools and infrastructure to manage the challenges associated with testing in microservice environment, promoting efficiency and reliability in software development process. For example, test automation scalability. Uh, TaaS leverage cloud infrastructure and containerized technologies to provide on-demand resources for test execution. This ensures that testing scales seamlessly with growing complexity of microservices. Automated tests can be executed concurrently across various microservices, enabling efficient and rapid testing without overwhelming local infrastructure. The independent development TaaS also facilitates independent development and testing of microservices by offering isolated testing environments. Development teams can work on their respective microservices independently, and TaaS ensures that testing environment for each microservice is isolated. prevent interference between different microservices. This independence accelerates development cycles and allows team focus on specific functionalities without affecting others. In large architectures, TaaS also enables distribution of test workloads across different testing environments. This is particularly crucial for us to ensure that tests are executed in parallel across multiple microservices, so TaaS can dynamically allocate resources based on testing needs of each microservice, optimizing test execution and reducing overall testing time. We also support parallel test execution, a key factor in handling microservices. Tests for different microservices can be run concurrently, allowing for faster feedback and reducing overall testing time. This parallelism is essential for maintaining agility in development process, especially in large-scale architectures.
Great. I mean, it is fascinating to see how TaaS streamlines testing, especially in large architectures, as you said, and makes the entire process more efficient. Yeah. So the next
Yeah.
question that I had was, how does updating test automation framework, especially with new test
Mhm.
cases, enhance functionality, reusability across
Mhm.
microservices in the organization?
Yeah. Updating the framework with new test cases plays a crucial role in enhancing functionality, reusability across microservices in the organization. Let's talk about why it's essential to update our test automation framework with new test cases. Firstly, it helps our testing process the same across all our microservices. Think of microservices like different puzzle pieces, each with its own unique features, and keeping our testing consistent is crucial for trustworthy and comparable results. The second one, when we add new test cases, we are basically creating reusable parts in our test automation framework. These parts uh, acts like building blocks that can be used for different microservices. This is not only saves time, but also makes we sure follow the same testing approach every time. As the organization grows and adds new microservices or updated automation framework, adjust smoothly to these changes. We don't need for a big makeover. It adapts well. Now, uh, let's talk about making regression testing more efficient by adding new test cases into our framework. We make a bunch of automated tests. This speeds up how we check existing functions across microservices, making sure everything works as it should. When we are bringing in new microservices or updated automation framework, make it fast and easy. The standard way we test things, the standard way we test things ensures that new services fit smoothly into our testing process. This helps them use existing test cases and we can release them very quickly. Uh, and for the last thing that I want to say, our microservices are always changing and updated test automation framework. We are always updating our test automation framework regularly filled with new test cases becomes a flexible and quick tool. It is ready to adjust to ever changing nature of our microservices.
Great, thank you so much. So it definitely underscores the importance of having a standardized approach across microservices, I suppose. Very
Yeah.
insightful. Yeah. Thanks, Virat. So, the next question that I had was if you can explain how TaaS's lean API approach simplifies development and contributions for developers with diverse programming language expertise.
Actually, this is the most crucial part of TaaS. Let's take a look about how testing as a service keeps things simple and inclusive for developers, no matter their programming background.
Mhm.
At first glance, TaaS has user-friendly API. It is easy to understand and use, making integration a breeze for developers. And guess what? TaaS plays nice with any programming language. Developer can use their favorite language to interact with TaaS. It's all about flexibility and inclusion. The best part, TaaS keeps it simple. The API is designed to be straightforward and developers can dive in quickly without getting complex stuff. And now, here is the cool thing. TaaS encourage teamwork. Developers from different language backgrounds can contribute. It is collective effort that makes TaaS more powerful and adaptable. And if you are all about speed, if you are talking about speed, TaaS has your back. The simple API helps developers build and test projects quickly. It's like a shortcut to efficient development. In a nutshell, TaaS is all about keeping it easy, inclusive, and speeding up development game for everyone.
I mean, that's a really great insight. Good to hear how TaaS sort of helps, foster collaboration um, among
Mhm.
developers who have different skill sets. Great. So, the last question that we have today is how can TaaS manage a versioning and backward compatibility, especially when integrating with DevOps tools to ensure a smooth transition and minimize disruptions in testing processes?
Thanks for the question, Kavya. TaaS keeps things smooth when integrating with DevOps tools by doing two key things. The first one, we use a clear versioning system. Each TaaS version and its API changes are well documented, so users can easily understood what's going on. The second one, we are all about backward compatibility. When we roll out new versions, we make sure that they play nicely with old ones. Your existing integrations with DevOps tools won't break, ensuring your testing process keep running without hitch. We also provide detailed release notes, so you are always in a loop about any changes. And if we ever decide to phase out a feature or version, we give you heads up with a clear timeline. In a nutshell, we aim to make transitioning with tasks as smooth as possible, ensuring your testing process stay uninterrupted. Thanks again for the question.
Great. Thank you so much, Virat. Once again, it's great to hear how TaaS adopts practices that ensures this transition is seamless and, of course, disruption-free. Great. Murat, I would say that it has been a very insightful session. Thank you so much for sharing the wealth of, knowledge that you have. To our audience, stay tuned for the episodes on LambdaTest Experience series. Until then, keep testing, keep innovating, and embrace the ever-evolving landscape of software quality. Once again, to Murat, thank you so much for giving us your time. Have a good day, everyone.